Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to explore the compound angle formula and how it is derived. Before that, let us answer this question. Is sine A plus B the same as sine A plus sine B? So basically, can we just bring the sine in to the two angles and say that this is the same as sine A plus sine B? If this is true, then we wouldn't even need a compound angle formula. Let us see what ChatGPT says. Okay, so ChatGPT says it's not true and it's actually a common misconception. So they have used an example to show that this is not true, which is actually a way to prove that a statement is false. So imagine angle A is 30 degrees and angle B is 60 degrees. Sine A plus B then in this case would be sine 30 plus 60, so sine 90 degrees. And we know that sine 90 degrees is equal to 1. You can press your calculator to verify this. Similarly, we also know what is sine 30 separately and sine 60 separately. Sine 30 is half, sine 60 is square root 3 over 2. When you add these two values, you can see that it clearly doesn't give you 1. So sine A plus B is not the same as sine A plus sine B. So what is it actually? So ChatGPT has also given us the formula here, but before we go into the formula, let us see how we can derive this formula. So to do this derivation, we are going to look at this triangle. So how do I come up with this triangle? You don't need to worry about that since the derivation is just for you to understand how the formula came about. So this is a triangle I'm looking at. It's made up of two right angle triangles, SPQ and RSQ. First, let us write down the area of triangle PQR. So to find area of triangle PQR in terms of H, R, P, A or B where relevant. So using our area of triangle formula, which is half A times B times sine C. So if I have these two sides and this angle, so the area of this triangle would be half times A times B times sine C. So using this, we can now write down the area of triangle PQR. Area of triangle PQR would be half times R times P times sine A plus B. You would now be able to see why I'm using this example, because there is a compound angle in this expression. Now, if we were to write down the area of the two triangles PQS and RQS separately, let us see what expression that gives us. So area of triangle PQS would be half R times H times sine A. Can you see I'm using these two sides and the included angle. Next, area of triangle RQS would be half times P times H times sine B. So I'm using these two sides and this angle. So this is the area of the two triangles added separately. So of course, the area of the two triangles added separately should give us the same expression as the area of the triangle PQR. So let us equate these two expressions and see what that gives us. Okay, so I have equated the area of triangle PQR with the sum of the area of PQS and RQS. Now, because this derivation is for us to figure out what happens to sine A plus B. So let us remove everything else on the left-hand side other than sine A plus B. So I'm going to divide half throughout. And I'm going to divide RP throughout. So when I divide RP throughout, this will divide by RP. This will divide by RP as well. So you can see that there are some common factors in the numerator and denominator that we can cancel. So we end up with an expression that looks like this. So the left-hand side now is h over p times sine A and h over r times sine B. Now what does the h over p and h over r represent? Let us go back to the diagram. Let's look at the diagram and look at h over p. Now in this triangle, what would h over p represent? Can you see that h is actually the adjacent side to the angle B and p is the hypotenuse side to in this triangle, which means this is actually the cosine ratio of angle B. Similarly, h over r, if you look at triangle PQS, h again is adjacent to angle A and r is the hypotenuse of angle A. So h over r is cosine of angle A. Now I'm going to replace h over p and h over r in the equation that we have formed. So h over p was cosine B. And h over r was cosine A. And this is the compound angle formula. So basically, what does the compound angle formula do? We start off with an angle that is made up of two angles added together. The purpose of compound angle formula is to split these two angles up so that there's a ratio separately for A and separately for B. So the formula ends up as cosine B times sine A and cosine A times sine B. Usually we write it as sine A cosine B and sine B cosine A.